Welcome to FINA Aquatics World. In this month's programme, we'll say goodbye to Michael Phelps. The FINA Men's Water Polo World League Super Final is underway in Kazakhstan. And we follow the spectacular cliff diving World Series. The International Swimming Federation FINA has ambitious plans to further raise the profile of aquatics by linking up with Red Bull for a high diving series next year that will comprise of 7 or 8 events around the world. FINA's goal is to raise the profile of this breathtaking discipline and take it to new heights. FINA also plans to include high diving events for the first time at its World Championships in Barcelona in July 2013. Using a specially built 27-metre platform for men and a 20-metre platform for women in the city's harbour area, spectators will be able to watch this spectacular competition as well as the marathon swimming races for free in one of the city's most popular areas. Looking at the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series, the 2012 season has brought sensational action from all corners of the globe. France has been an integral part of the World Series calendar ever since La Rochelle hosted its very first competition back in May 2009. Corsica welcomed the divers to the opening event of the year as the town of Bonifacio on the southern tip of the island and the Saint-Francois cannon base provided a spectacular backdrop to the event. It was the 2009 World Series winner and 9-time world champion Orlando Duque from Colombia who was making his competitive comeback following a year out with injury to prove that he is still at the top of his game in very testing conditions.
I'm really happy. You know, when I started competing, I wanted to make a comeback at least to the same level that I was last year, but even though I want to win, I wasn't expecting it. You know, I know the level keeps going up. Conditions were really tricky, and I was able to handle all that. But just really, really happy. I put a lot of time into preparing myself, and I mean, it looks like the results are just coming back.
Well, the most northern stop of the 2012 season saw the diving elite visit Grimstad in Norway, and the picturesque scenery unfortunately didn't provide the ultimate conditions for the athletes as strong winds built up during the competition.
The main problem is that they have to balance at the edge of a platform, and even if we're standing there and the gusts of wind come in, you know, it pushes you off balance, which means their takeoff has to be completely in balance, and if all of a sudden a gust of wind comes, it could be extremely dangerous.
But despite the difficult circumstances, the audience was treated to sensational action, especially from the winner.
Yeah, I'm obviously really happy, and I love doing that dive last because it's my favourite dive and I know I can do it well under pressure.
Well, from the cold north, the series headed south for the 3rd stop of the year, zooming in on Portugal and the beautiful Azores, and there was time for more than just diving.
Dolphin and whale watching was a really cool trip. I'm really excited that when we come to these awesome locations that it's really nice to explore the local culture and get to do some neat, maybe touristy or just local things here on the island.
Well, looking at the competition, it was once again a narrow affair and breathtaking performances.
I'm so happy. It's big surprise for me. Today I win Orlando, 0.1 point. It's nothing. It's half point from one charge. For a little bit today, I'm dive better Orlando. A little bit, but better.
We'll return to the high diving scene later on in the show as Innismore in Ireland welcomes the Daredevils for the fourth stop of the Red Bull World Series. Now it's time to say farewell to a legend.
The Summer Olympics is over, and with more than 2 weeks of top-class action, sporting fans have been overwhelmed with impressions from the big stars and the sensational efforts on display in London. One athlete who doesn't run the risk of being overshadowed, however, is swimming phenomenon Michael Phelps. The London Games was his fourth Olympic experience, and Michael didn't disappoint his fans as he added more gold to his laurels. Michael's impressions of the British capital were also very positive.
It's been awesome. You know, I try to, every city I go to, I try to compare it to, and I always do this as an American, but I always try to compare it to an American city. And I love New York, and you know, I think London and New York have a lot of similarities, and I think it's awesome. You know, I was driving down, you know, from the village last night and going through sort of the city a little bit, and it was just fun being able to see different parts of the city, and you know, we were coming over the bridges this morning, you know, being able to see Big Ben and Parliament. You know, that was the first time I'd seen them this whole trip. You know, it's just cool being able to go around and see more of it, and you know, hopefully over the next couple of days I'll be able to enjoy it a little bit more, and I'll be able to have time to go out and, I don't know, see London how you're supposed to. I don't know how you're supposed to, but I have some friends who live over here, and I'm going to ask them what to do and what to see, and you know, I'm definitely going to enjoy this one more than I have, you know, more Olympics than I have in the past. You know, it's just cool being able to just have fun and enjoy, and I've said this so many times to you guys, but that's all I've really wanted to do this Olympics, and I've been able to do it.
It was more or less already a known fact before the London Games, but even so, many swimming fans have been sad to hear that Michael is leaving swimming, at least from an athlete's point of view.
My competitive part of my career is over, but it doesn't mean I'm done with the sport. You know, the sport has allowed me so many opportunities, and you know, I've had the privilege to do some of the coolest things in the world, and you know, I'm still going to go with my goal of trying to change the sport and take it to a new level. You know, it hasn't reached the peak that I want it to reach, and you know, it's going to be fun sort of being on the outside looking in, and you know, being able to you know, whether it is to go to World Championships and watch next year, or go to the Olympics in Brazil, and you know, sort of just being able to see from the outside, I think is something that I'm looking forward to.
Ahead of the London Games, Michael had one more record to break for the most Olympic medals won. With the record held since 1964 by the former Soviet gymnast Larissa Latinina, standing at 18. Michael surpassed that record in London, pushing it up to 22. Michael had already won the most Olympic gold medals in history and added to his own record number, with 4 more settling at 18 in total. No surprise then that he is often asked which medal is his favorite, and also which Miss medal haunts him the most.
There have been so many amazing races. I mean, I think the best one was probably my first one back in 2004. You know, being able to win the first gold medal the very first day of swimming in the 400 IM is probably one of the coolest moments, just because it's the first one, and you know, it just shows that hard work does pay off. One I hated losing the most, probably the 200 fly here. Just, you know, that's, Chad handed me my third defeat, and sort of my, you know, the last 10 years. So, you know, if I could go back and swim that race again, I would love to. But, you know, that's how I prepare myself, and I know that. But no, I'm not coming back. Don't get any ideas. But you know, like I said before, Chad prepared himself for that race, and he was the more prepared swimmer. And that's how he got his hand on the wall first, and I know that, and I realize that.
Having made his Olympic debut at only 15 years of age, Michael has been involved in professional swimming for more than a decade. And the big question is, of course, what's next for the great Michael Phelps?
I want to go and travel around the world and you know, just have some fun. You know, there will be no more staring at the black line for 4 hours out of the day. But you know, I'm looking forward to moving on to the next part of my life, and you know, as my mom said last night, turning the page to the next chapter, and who knows where that leads me. But this is my first day of retirement and first day of my new life.
Beginning with the 2015 World Championships in Kazan, Russia, FINA plans to combine the event with the World Masters Championships, following a successful model created by triathlon and other sports in which elite competitions are combined with amateur or age group competitions, which can be highly lucrative for the organisers. By combining the biennial FINA World Championships with its World Masters Championships event, FINA will create an event that will involve between 12,000 and 14,000 athletes. Coming up after the break, we watch the best men's water polo teams clash in Kazakhstan. And we join the cliff diving elite in Ireland for the fourth stop of the World Series. Welcome back. In part 2 of FINA Aquatics World, we continue our coverage of the Cliff Diving World Series as Ireland welcomes the athletes for the fourth stop of the year. But first, we visit Kazakhstan for the super final of the FINA Men's Water Polo World League. The Men's Water Polo World League has been held every year since 2002, and starting from 2005, all winning countries have been former republics of Yugoslavia. This year, the event was held in Almaty in Kazakhstan, and the semi-final lineups promised some heated action. With 2 bronze medals in the last 2 editions, Croatia was looking for their first World League title this year. But to have any chance at that, they needed to defeat the USA in their semi-final. But it was the USA who got off to a flying start, jumping to an early 2-0 lead. The Croatians were also up to the task. Sandro Sukno and Maro Jokovic scored some fine goals. Still, the first period went to the Americans after Jeff Powers' blast hit the top right corner to make it 4-3. Jesse Smith made a neat finish from a counter for 5-3, but 2 blistering shots from distance by Miho Boskovic and Samir Barac tied the score once again. Petar Muslim also netted 1 from the wing, but Croatia's run was halted soon. This time, 2 nicely played man-ups gave back the lead to the US by half-time at 7-6. It was the Croatians' turn to score power play goals, and their lefty, Maro Jokovic, didn't make any mistake. He struck twice, but between the 2, Adam Wright's shot from distance was also on target, so the fourth started from 8-8. Well, the last quarter brought on the Sandro Sukno show. The young Croatian scored a range of goals. He netted 1 from a 6-on-5, from a penalty, and from action. His hat-trick was enough to push his team to the final. The final score, 11-10 to Croatia. The second semi-final witnessed a Mediterranean encounter as the reigning world champions Italy faced off with Spain in a defensive encounter. Well, Spain opened strongly as Javi Valles and Felipe Perón scored from counter-attacks. Italy pulled one back towards the end of the first. But Felipe Perón's nice lob caught Stefano Tempesti by surprise. So Spain were 3-1 up at half-time. Well, the Italians started to climb back in the third. Christian Presciutti's lob from 8 metres somehow found its way to the net, and Pietro Figlioli added one from an extra. Well, the Spanish replied, also from a 6-on-5. It was a great setup, moving the ball with the utmost patience, and finally Marc Minguel pushed the ball in from the wall after a magnificent assist of Felipe Perón. But Presciutti rallied back and scored for 4-4 with just 2 seconds remaining of the quarter. Well, Minguel's backhanded shot gave back the lead to the Spanish, but Maurizio Felugo earned an exclusion during a counter, remained one-on-one with the goalie, and that was a checkmate situation, settling the score at 5-5. So a shootout was needed. The first 2 pairs made no mistake, but Italy's Valerio Rizzo's shot was well saved by Dani Lopez. After Javier Garcia's successful attempt, Maurizio Felugo hit the post. And finally, Guillermo Molina netted his penalty and sent the Spaniards into the final. Ahead of the final, the battle for bronze was fought out between USA and Italy. Going into the last quarter, Italy was leading by 6-4. The Americans killed a penalty and scored from their 6-on-5 at the beginning of the fourth. It was Peter Valera's third goal of the game. But again, the defences worked well when 6 faced 6 in front of the goals. Then, one small mistake was enough from the Americans. The Italians earned a penalty, and Pietro Figlioli was merciless to make it 7-5. Well, the US boys didn't give in, earned an exclusion, missed the extra, but took the rebound, forcing another extra, and this time Jesse Smith found the net for 6-7. With only 2 minutes left, the Italians didn't risk anything, but the Americans did get agonisingly close to levelling the score. However, Ryan Bailey's fine centre shot hit the crossbar. So, Italy earned the bronze medal, another podium finish after last year's silver, while the USA had to settle for 4th place this time around. On to the final then between Croatia and Spain, 2 teams looking for their maiden World League title. Marc Minguel opened the scoring, but Sandro Sukno just continued his streak of shooting huge goals from distance. And 50 seconds later, the Croatians were already ahead, courtesy of Maro Jokovic's fine left-handed shot from a 6-on-5. Well, the other lefty, Blaji Milarac, equalised from an extra at the beginning of the second quarter. But next came Croatia's Miho Boskovic's 8-metre blast, and Andro Bush's nice push from the wall in a man-up, and it gave them a 4-2 lead. But the Spanish men battled hard, and Albert Espanyol, enjoying a remarkable shooting form, first scored from an extra, then managed to hit the back of the net from distance, so it was tied at 4-4 at half-time. Sandro Sukno took the stage in the third, putting away 2 penalties. Between the two, it was he who couldn't mark Ivan Perez, who scored from the centre. Albert Espanyol was the one who levelled again shortly before the buzzer. In the fourth period, the Spaniards blocked the Croatians' power play and converted their own, with Javi Valle's fine finishing touch from the wall. For the first time, Spain were in front, but soon Igor Hinic took a quick pass and netted an equaliser. In a minute, the Croatians went ahead again, thanks to Miho Boskovic's blistering shot. After tremendous efforts from both sides, Spain earned a very last chance, and David Martin found a way among the arms to level the score with only 24 seconds to go, forcing the match to a penalty shootout. The first miss came on the Croatian side as Daniel Lopez denied Maro Jokovic in the second round. In the fourth, Josip Pavic did the same with Guillermo Molina. So, after the first 5 shots, it stood 4-4. The next 10 shots all were buried as tensions ran extremely high. The third round just began. Miho Boskovic sent home his third penalty. Then came Mario Garcia, but this time Pavic guessed right and stopped the shot with his right hand, securing the FINA World League title for Croatia. Innismore, on the biggest of the 3 Aran Islands in Ireland, was the scene for the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series season's halfway stage. A ferry ride from Galway on Ireland's west coast, Innismore is home to the Serpent's Lair, a natural formation that fishermen call a blowhole. Well, spectacular scenery, no doubt, but the main focus was on the athletes, and as usual, all the big names were present to fight for the glory. But what does it take to become a world-class high diver?
Obviously, you have to know the diving technique. So you have to dedicate a lot of time to diving, learn the proper technique, and then eventually, make the height and dive from 27 meters. But mentally, I think is very important. To me, it's more important mentally because you have to recognize what you need to do a good dive. Diving technique alone is not enough. Just being crazy is not enough. You have to be strong mentally, and you have to understand where you are in the dive, what you need to do a good dive.
When I start to dive, I'm scary sit on the platform before the handstand. My hands, like when I come to dive back twist, my legs the same, it's jump, I'm scared. Now I don't have huge experience, but when I come to platform, I feel more comfortable.
Cliff diving is a seriously individual sport. I mean, you can reach out for help as much as you want, but when you step out on that platform and you look down at the water, it's just you. And you gotta know that you can do this, and you gotta be able to handle it.
I can see my dives in my head, so that's all I do. I just try to go back and think about it, and just close my eyes for a second, and I'm thinking about it, and I know I can do it. At that moment, like, everything is calm. Like, I don't feel anything anymore. And next thing I'm in the air.
The event was entertaining and, as usual, challenged the divers with constantly changing conditions. And once again, the fight for victory was a tight affair. Well, once again, it was a battle between Russia's Artem Silchenko and Colombia's Orlando Duque. And just as in the Azores, Silchenko came out on top with a margin of only 4 points. Stephen LeBeau of the USA finished third.
I was happy with my dives. This is the first time this year that I managed to put the 4 dives together. I scored 9s and 9.5s in all of them. So I'm happy. I think it's a good result. And now I just need to concentrate on what I was doing here and then see if I can do it all the way until the end.
My day is great. I win second time straight. I beat Orlando a little bit again. We have a great score. I'm in Orlando. Dive very nice today. I win.
The Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series continues with 3 more stops and plenty of action by these daredevils of the aquatics world. Well, that's it for this episode. We'll be back in a month's time with more aquatics action. Until then, thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now.